Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Joe Biden just spoke and he gave us a lot of pretty decent insights in terms of what his plans are with COVID negotiations, but also with manufacturing and electric vehicles and investments into America. And it's been a while since we've actually gotten a Q&A from him. We've gotten a lot of speeches from him, but not a Q&A. So we finally got some more context here in terms of what's going on and where his head is. Let's break it all down right now. So first, Biden opened up by talking about Made in America. And he talks about how he wants our recovery to basically use the American engine to build our economy back. And so what he says is he wants to spend taxpayer money like crazy to pump it right into the American economy. And he pretty strongly slammed Donald Trump multiple times at the beginning of his speech by suggesting that, hey, you know, the prior administration was all about buy American and you know, make America great again, essentially. He didn't actually use that slogan. But there were a ton of waivers at every single federal department in our country at the federal government's level, where basically people could say, yeah, you know, can't find the headphones waiver, and then they go buy them from China or whatever. I'm making up the headphone example, but that's basically what Biden was saying, is people were just using waivers left and right to buy foreign-made products anyway. Biden's saying what he's going to do is different, because he's going to say, if you can't find the product you need made in America, then you need to explain yourself to the White House in terms of why you can't find it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to hook you up with a small business, potentially and certainly with a focus on minority businesses as well, women-owned, black-owned, Latino-owned, whatever. And we are going to find you a ideally local and small business, and we are going to get small businesses to be sources for Made in America products. And by doing this, or to facilitate this, I should say, he is going to have a centralized, coordinated effort. Basically, he's creating another department in the government almost, and he's assigning a director, and the director will have a title of Director of Made in America, and that person will oversee all of that in the White House. And so this is really a way to make sure people are buying in America and buying American-made products. So that was kind of his explanation on that. Then he went really fast on this. Like, I'm going to go back and re-listen to this again, but I got some really good notes down. So these words were key here. He goes, additionally, hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent to modernize infrastructure and increase our competitive strengths in the world. Those are big words, and then he kind of defines these, and he goes down and says, American steel, American technology, American roads, bridges, ports, climate. Then we also have, I typoed this, but this had to do with green energy, basically. Faster transportation and a cleaner American goods. All of these items here are really like big, like ding-dongs on sort of a bell for companies like Caterpillar, steel manufacturing companies in America. You've got certainly the Tesla, potentially smaller companies. You got to be careful with the smaller ones like the SBE charging companies, the Blink charging companies, the NGA for electrifying fleet vehicles in America. These are some stocks that are probably going to digest what Biden just said over the next few days, and we might see some movement in these. A big thing he also went on to say is we are going to electrify America's fleet or a federal fleet of vehicles. That's pretty big as well, because electrifying a fleet of vehicles, and we've kind of been chatting here in not only the chat, but also in Discord, we're kind of thinking, so what are federal vehicles? I mean, you've got FBI, you've got, DEA vehicles, you've got Department of Homeland Security, you've got the United States Postal Service. So we saw the stock market react a little bit over at Workhorse stock, which is waiting for a United States Postal Service contract to electrify postal service vehicles. A lot of excitement around this. And it certainly helped as well that after he was talking about electrifying America's fleet, he started saying that we're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars into research and development in markets where we can compete better, like battery technology, biotechnology, and clean energy. And then requiring that at least 50% of components that go into these vehicles be made in America. Those are big statements here. So those are huge boosts to companies that have manufacturing plants in America. Battery tech, clean energy, and made in America, right there, those three things, Tesla, Tesla, Tesla. Look, you got the Fremont facility, you got the Austin facility, you got the Nevada Gigafactory, you got Cato, you got New York. Tesla, this has Tesla written all over it. But it potentially also has GM written all over it with their new electrification push. Ford's a little bit behind. But these are huge statements here. Now, we'll see. I mean, this is really just kind of a glimpse into Biden's manufacturing plans here. We'll talk stimulus in just a moment. But these are big. We'll buy from all of America, small business, black, brown, every region, national network of manufacturing, national manufacturing partnership to connect suppliers across the country. Offshore renewable energy was another thing he talked about. Let's see here. Then he jumped on over from this segment on sort of energy, which very, very important for obviously the energy space. I mean, you could even think like solar companies, the TAN ETF. You could think Enphase, certainly the other solar stocks. But moving on from some of these stocks, which the words he said here are big for that. Let's go on to the other items which he mentioned, which COVID relief is one of them. But quickly, he also mentioned wants to see more ventilation in schools. So you might look into, who knows, do you want to look into a stock like Honeywell? Is Honeywell going to be a potential supplier for better ventilation systems in schools? Or, is it going to be 3M providing better HEPA filtration? Who knows? But then we get into COVID relief, and we get some really neat insights into COVID relief here. So what he says is, and let me just back up for a moment and say, there's been a little bit of frustration with Biden in part because we kind of thought that he would come into office and go, boom, here's my plan. And he would kind of just pull out, here you go. Here's the bill. On page 32, this is what we're doing with stimulus checks. Okay, page 33, this is what we're doing with unemployment. We didn't get that, right? Instead, what we got is, I'm going to nickname him Mr. Phone Call. So Mr. Phone Call likes negotiating a lot with people himself, and that's what he did for 40 years as a legislator, so he's got a lot of experience doing this, and we know that. But a big goal that he has and what he conveyed is not only just removing like the hate and resentment, the vitriol between Democrats and Republicans, but he's literally trying to get on the phone with people, like Republicans, for example, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think about it? And it really sounded like he was almost trying to basically handhold each individual senator or representative that might be in the middle to get them to understand where he's coming from, why he came up with, $1,400 stimulus checks or money for unemployment set at $400 or a $1.9 trillion package. When he was asked in questions if he would be open to breaking apart the stimulus package, he said that he's not open to cherry picking individual items out of the package, that he believes everything is necessary, but he did say that he is open to negotiating the $1,400 stimulus checks. Now, this is something that we've seen a lot of talk about with the press secretary, where she suggests that, hey, maybe we can talk about targeting something a little bit more. This is something we've heard on the bipartisan calls as well regarding stimulus. So this was something insightful. So it kind of gives us an idea that, all right, maybe we don't have a formal plan yet, but hey, maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeve to manually negotiate these things. Now, I will say Mitch McConnell, just literally minutes before Joe Biden began speaking, said that the Biden's $1.9 trillion relief proposal, quote, misses the mark. And McConnell called for a, quote, targeted package and, quote, not an imprecise deluge of borrowed money that would direct huge sums to those who don't need it. So a little bit, here's McConnell finally making some remarks on stimulus, and they're not exactly what we want to hear. They're almost kind of the opposite of what we want to hear on stimulus. But Biden really gave this push that, hey, ultimately, he prefers to have a bipartisan plan. But worst case scenario, he said it himself, look, if we need to use the budget reconciliation process, it'll depend on how negotiations go, but ultimately that'll be up to the House and Senate. So he basically said, look, I'm going to try to negotiate for a few weeks with Republicans. If it doesn't work, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, if you guys think you need to use budget reconciliation to slam dunk this COVID relief bill, fine. That'll be up to you guys. You do it. But he is looking for his $1.9 trillion package. He's open to negotiating some parts of it, but he is looking for that. He was then asked in questions, hey, but I mean, like, you're talking about unity, but how could you have unity if you end up using the budget reconciliation method? You slam dunk something with 51 votes. And Biden actually said something, he redefined unity a little bit here. And he said, well, if it breaks down party lines, that doesn't mean there wasn't unity. It just means it wasn't bipartisan. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to break open the dictionary on this one because I don't know that you could have unity in Congress if all the Democrats are voting one way and all the Republicans are voting the other way. I get that is definitely not bipartisan, and that would be defined as partisan. But I guess I don't see the unity in that. Maybe he means unity amongst the Democrats and unity amongst the Republicans. So like two unified groups that together are not like what? I don't know. I don't know. But it seems like right now we're probably going to have to, I hate to say this word, but like suffer through a couple weeks of this Biden style of negotiating where, I can imagine if you get Biden on the phone, it's probably not a quick call. It's probably not like, so are you good with the 1.9? No? Well, F you then. How about you? You good with the 1.9? All right, good. It probably is a whole lot longer of a phone call. So I do think it's possible that we're probably going to be waiting a couple weeks to see how these negotiations develop, and we'll just sort of keep getting trickled info. I mean, we just got the first update from Mitch McConnell on what his opinion is on stimulus. Then we also heard that Biden is confident that he can get to not only 1 million vaccinations per day here very soon, within the next 3 weeks, but he also thinks we're going to be able to ramp up to 1.5 million vaccinations per day very soon. And when he was asked if, when does Biden think that anybody who wants the vaccine can get it? Outside of the tiered systems, when can anybody get it? And Biden says, hey, I think it'll be on our way towards herd immunity and even vaccinations for children. So this was pretty insightful. I mean, I have to say, I feel like I got more out of this than out of like the last 3 press conferences with Jen Psaki. And Jen, if you're listening, I'm sorry, okay? Like, Biden actually gave us some insights. They weren't like clear answers, but he gave us a lot of insights. I personally think that's helpful. Now, you might hate Biden's guts, okay? I'm not taking sides, y'all know that. But what I will say is you could get 4 free stocks with Robinhood, whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. Okay, let's quickly see here. I want to see if there's another last-minute update here because sometimes there is. And I think I just saw something potentially come through on McConnell. Biden says time is of the essence. We remember that. Okay, Senator Schumer, quote, all I can tell you is we're not letting Mitch McConnell dictate how the Senate runs or what we do. There's huge anger in my caucus about what he's doing. Ooh, huge anger in Schumer's caucus. All right, about Mitch McConnell. Jeez. All right. So anyway, Schumer says the standoff over Senate organizing resolution. Yeah, okay, same thing. All I can tell you, okay, he's the minority leader. Oh, man. Some other comments here. Yes, Biden's comments, not only Workhorse, NGA, XL. I don't like XL. XL Fleet, I'm not jazzed on that one. GIK, I hear some good things about that one. SBA for ChargePoint, Blink charging. CLII, that's EVgo. Be careful with that one. That is tiny. They've got less than 2,000 chargers. I think that one got blown up way too fast. You gotta be careful on that one. So let's see here. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me see if we have questions here in this chat. Yes. After Schumer clearly was upset about Donald Trump's inciting of the Now Schumer is also upset about. Well, you know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna stop now. So, questions here. New ventilation. You made it big on the White House team, taking your ideas now. Oh, I appreciate that. Seriously, ventilation, folks. I have 2 of those big HEPA filters running in this house right now because we have people over that say they've quarantined for 2 weeks. And so we crank the air filters anyway. So it's like, there's no COVID cloud building up in here. Oh my gosh. Other questions here. Stimulus plan. I think so. Someone here says the stimulus package was a big fat lie from Joe Biden. I think this is Joe Biden's negotiating style. It's not what we were expecting. Nancy Pelosi even said she was expecting to slam dunk something in the first 2 weeks, and that's not what's happening. So I think we definitely got skewed expectations. The expectations were not very clear. That's their fault. You know, that we all assumed something was going to get slam dunk within the first few weeks, just like Nancy Pelosi did. That's their fault. That's not our fault. So, yeah, no, that's, you're right to be angry. I don't think his package was a lie, though. I think it's coming. Just when it's coming is much more frustrating. Good. Taylor's using the HEPA filters. That's awesome. Remember, you can go to metkevin.com/air to see the ones I like. The ones I like, though, they're really expensive. Honestly, if you don't want to go for something that expensive, look for something that's a HEPA filter that you could put into your vent for your central AC or heat, whatever you use. And if you just have a heater, you could just run fan mode, and you could use that to circulate through. Serious question. Are you really worthy of wielding the hammer? Oh, here. Well, let me show you.